Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we're on the website of French auction portal Enchères, and we're going to have a look at a French auction by Baecque and Associates. This is a general musical instrument sale, so there's quite a lot of different things: wind instruments, bowed strings, other kind of stuff. So it's a good kind of general overview. In general, the buyer's premium I think is 25%, maybe some other fees here and there. Like I said, this is a French auction, so check out the terms and conditions if you're buying outside of France or outside of Europe, worldwide, etc. CITES restrictions, all of that stuff. Check out terms and conditions. This particular auction is due to finish on the 7th of December. It's the 4th today, so a few days left to go. Have a look at the link in the description and look at the catalogue yourself. We're just going to have a brief overview of this. We won't look at everything because otherwise that takes a bit too long. But we'll take a brief overview and hopefully kind of see a few things here. So we've got double bass sax horn there by Kuzno, German system contrabass sax horn there, small helicon without pistons there from Descartes Frères in Lierre. We've got an anonymous horn with 3 valves there, cornet by Francois Besson. Maybe let's have a quick look at this German rappel horn with its mouthpiece. That's quite nice, 40 to 50 euros there. We've got a bugle by JTL, anonymous 3-valve trumpet, Eastern Europe, trumpet by H. Fien, 1900s there. We've got a ball parade trumpet there. Let's have a look at this. Some of them we won't be able to see pictures of in the general overview, but like I said, you can follow the link in the description and check it out yourself. Trumpet by Galliard and Lizette, slide trombone, Antoine Courtois, small flugelhorn there, alto saxophone by J. Grass. Let's have a quick look at that. Looks like it's missing a bit of parts there. Case for a tenor saxophone. Got a Selmer clarinet there. B-flat clarinet. Another B-flat Thiberville Buffet one there. Buffet crampon clarinet there. Selmer clarinet. Buffet crampon professional. Kuzno clarinet. Let's have a look at this. A small Musette oboe in F there, early 20th century, 120 to 150 euros. Oboe in rosewood by Muller Cousin, successor in Lyon. For some reason they've taken a few pictures of this one, 100 to 150 euros. This actually, we should probably look at this. It's a rare Tribert senior oboe, so like 1840. There, 400 to 500 euros. So if you're interested in oboes, then it might be for you. Another fine oboe by Tribert. A flute, second half of the 19th century. A Jupiter piccolo transverse flute. Baecque bass recorder. Is there a picture of this? No, there isn't. A rare, excellent recorder. Size below the sopranino. In fruitwood, 20th century, 100 to 120 euros. Interesting. Alto recorder in pearwood. Let's have a quick look at that from 1970. Tenor recorder there. Slide flute, jazzo flute, chromed metal. Ooh, interesting. If you're interested in flutes, just completely zoomed out of that for some reason. Maple bass flute by Baecque. It's a nice looking flute there, 400 to 450 euros. Very good brand. These piccolo flutes, they're quite popular with an ivory head. And a set of 3 flutes. Let's have a quick look at that. 1900s. Piccolo there, 3rd flute in boxwood by Gautreau, some military fifes. Let's have a look at these traditional flutes, including 2 carved Yugoslav double flutes, a Turkish kawal, a glazed terracotta ocarina, a 3-hole galube, and 2 Indonesian notch flutes. That's quite a nice selection there, 50 to 60. That's a lot of kind of flutes and harmonica, etc. Let's have a look at this Flageolet by Hallery F. Soudre in Paris, 19th century, 120 to 140 euros. We're on to some guitars here. Travel guitar, Nashville. This is standard Harley Benton. That's the Thoman brand travel guitar there, 20th century. Ramondo classical guitar, child's guitar. I don't think we need to look in those so much. More kind of generic-y kind of guitars there. Same here. I don't think we need to look at them so much. Maybe we'll have a look at this guitar made by Alexandre Baecque, 1980s. Looks like it's been very well played. So much so it's gone through the top of it there. 600 to 800 euros. Let's see, Suzuki folk guitar, Sigma folk guitar. This is all fairly standard stuff. Let's just have a look at this Japanese folk guitar, Kawai model KF16, 1970. Yeah, I quite like the look of that actually. That's quite cool. Some of the Kawai stuff's not bad. Samek Stratocaster there. Let's have a look at this Kent electric guitar made in Japan in the early 1960s. You see a few of these around. They're usually not really all that playable. Epiphone guitar and amp. Another guitar amp there, Laney amp. Interesting. It's a Framus jazz guitar, model 554, 1970s. It's quite curious F holes there. Slightly interesting, 150 to 180 euros. Interesting enough. Another jazz guitar here by Kuzno Miracle, 1960-1970. Seen better days. Got a German jazz guitar here from the 1950s to be refurbished. Looks fairly standard. It's a lap steel guitar there, some cigar box guitars. This is interesting. This is a 6-string Theorbo lute guitar by Herman Carlson Levin, made in Gothenburg, Sweden at the beginning of the 20th century. I think these were quite popular at the time. 400 to 500 euros. A really nice back on it there. Obviously needs a bit of TLC there, but these are quite interesting. We've got one of these German lute guitars here, made in 1900. This one's actually got quite a nice rosette to it, a bit of carving there, nicer than the majority of the ones we see. And a Theorbode lute here with 13 courses and 4 Theorbode strings, made by Jacob van der Geest, luthier in Vevey, Switzerland, 1973. Okay, 1,000 to 1,500 euros. It actually looks like a really nicely made lute. Actually, that's probably quite a decent one, I would say. Got a Japanese 5-string banjo there. Got another mandolin banjo, anonymous banjolin from France. Spanish bandurria there. Let's have a look at this one here. Pretty bandurria by Salvatore Ibanez in Valence, around 1900, 200 to 250 euros. That's quite a cute looking instrument there. Flat mandola by René Jerome, around 1950, 60 to 80. This one is really something special. Neapolitan mandolin from the second half of the 18th century, 1600 to 2000 euros. Some bits have been redone in the 19th century. Ornate in mother of pearl. Looks like it needs a bit of TLC, a bit of restoration, but that is it definitely needs quite a lot of TLC and restoration. Massive hole there, but that was once a very beautiful mandolin, and it probably deserves a good bit of restoration there. So that's a very interesting lot in this auction. There's a Romana concert mandolin there, a shrill Neapolitan mandolin. Let's have a quick look at this one. Italian mandolin by Rafael Esposito, student of Vinaccia, 70 to 100 there. It's a fairly simple looking item. German mandolin there. Anonymous Neapolitan mandolin. Let's have a quick look. I think this is going to be fairly standard, yeah. And have a look at this mandolin by René Jerome in Miracle, 50 to 80. And let's carry on. German mandolin there, Stridello mandolin, anonymous mandolin. It's all fairly similar. Concert mandolins and Caffarelli. Let's have a look at this folk art hurdy-gurdy, 200 to 300 euros. Definitely needs substantial restoration. I think we've seen a lot better before. Here's a Parisian hurdy-gurdy by Joseph Bassot, well-known maker, actually made violins as well, 1400 to 1600 euros. So that's quite interesting. A nice design. That's quite a high level hurdy-gurdy there, so that's interesting to see. And we're carrying on here. So we've got some Epinette de Vosges here. These are kind of quite popular. And there's an Epinette de Flandre, the Flemish log. These are very simple kind of instruments there. Let's have a look at some other violins. A 1/10 violin, and another kind of like toy violin of some kind. Another quarter size violin there, a JTL type thing. Another quarter size violin, Miracle 1900. Doesn't look too bad there. All the standard pictures there. Anonymous violin made in Miracle 1850. So 180 to 250 euros there. I think that could actually need a bit of repair, but I think that could clean up quite nicely. Another half-size violin there with a bow. Looks like fairly standard. A 3/4 violin here, Miracle. Once again, not too bad. Fairly standard. And they're saying here a beautiful 3/4 violin around 1900. I think that may be a little bit exaggerated. Another 3/4 violin there, another 3/4 here. So more 3/4 violins here. These are all fairly standard looking, more 3/4s, all kind of tradey type violins. Violin from the Lebert workshop. I think this is going to be fairly standard. Needs definitely a bit of TLC. All of these things literally look like they've come out of a barn for some reason. German violin, 1900. Let's have a look at that. It's kind of slightly interesting in some way, that violin, 120 to 200 euros. Here's a violin by Victor Quinol, 1948, 1000 to 2000, to 1200 euros there. It looks like it could be quite a nice violin. French violin here from around 1900. Interesting choice of wood there. And that's quite a curious violin, 20 to 30. Another Miracle violin here, 20th century. Once again, interesting wood choice. Violin with a Nicolas Medard label, 100 to 150. That looks like it's been substantially messed around with. Anonymous French violin, late 19th century. That kind of looks okay, 1000 to 1200 there. Stradivarius Miracle violin looks fairly standard. A couple of 20th century violins here. Looks like one anonymous 19th century violin. Looks like it has some potential there for sure. German violin of the 20th century. This looks like a fairly typical 19th, early 20th century trade violin. Got a French violin made by Colin Fee at the end of the 18th century, 1500 to 2000. Yeah, it looks fairly typical of the time. 362 back. That's kind of quite nice. JTL violin here. Yeah, it looks in fairly good condition. 800 to 1000. Violin Antonio Lorenzi, made in Saint Raphael, 1930. 600 to 800. Could do with a bit of a TLC there. Another Miracle violin from 1920. Pretty standard. Another Miracle 19th century violin by F. Rudolph. Once again, looks like good potential there. Quite a lot of violins in this auction. Violin by Jean-Baptiste Colin-Mazat, 1800 to 2000. It's always quite popular. This is kind of Guarneri-ish model there. These are always popular. Another Baecque violin here, JTL, 20th century, pretty standard. Anonymous French violin from about 1840. That's pretty big at 364. 3/4 Baecque violin here, pretty standard. Anonymous handmade violin from 1900. It looks fairly standard here. Late 19th century French violin, saying Bouthold, pupil of Viome, looks fairly decent, 800 to 1200 there. Violin by René Kuhn, made by Renato Coni, 1500 to 2000. Another Baecque violin, 1920. It's all fairly standard. Violin with the iron mark of Pillamont, 200 to 300 euros. That looks fairly standard. Another Baecque violin here, 19th century, fairly standard. Lebert Workshop violin. It's a Paul Boucher Baecque violin. Another standard one there. Violins to be restored by Francois Breton, 1802, 150 to 180. Another later Breton violin there, so yeah, a bit of restoration work there for someone. Another JTL violin with a later kind of work of this deep red varnish. It's pretty standard. Another JTL violin here, very normal kind of French trade. Some more things here, we're still carrying on here. Violin by Nicholas Bertolini here. Another violin with a Paul Blanchard label there. Actually looks kind of quite nice anyway, 400 to 500 euros. Another JTL violin there, like a tradey violin. Another Baecque violin with a Cerruti label, pretty standard. Another violin from the workshop of Colin-Mazat, another fairly standard French. Violin Le Marquis de la Air de Sol, another standard trade violin. Another violin with a Strad label there, more trade stuff. Baecque violin 1880 with a Galliano label. Looks actually fairly interesting, 1800 to 2.5. German violin, beginning of the 20th century, 280 to 300. Oh, here's saying a Viennese school violin from around 1750, 4,000 to 5,000 there, with the label Anthony Posh, ready to play. Yeah, it's an interesting violin. Another violin there with the Lupo label, standard kind of Baecque. A detached violin with the marks AD, Alexandre Delanoy. Okay. Another German violin from the 19th century with a Testore label, 1400 to 1800 there. Interesting violin though. Violin made by Didier Salzar around 1800, 600 to 800 euros there, a few bows. German violin from 1900, pretty standard. Anonymous German violin around 1900, looks like it's had some very weird varnish things going on there. And the case there, another case. Got a few bows here. Violin bow by Roger Lott, violin bow by the French School. Let's have a look at this. Violin bow by Eugene Sartori, signed twice, mounted in ebony and silver. Fine wick and without trim, good condition, slight wear. Okay, 16,000 to 20,000 euros there, the estimate on that, so it's pretty substantial. Needs some work on the eye there. So there you go, some high level stuff there. JTL bow, a couple of Pernambuco bows, a Morazon bow here, another Pernambuco bow, Justin Poisson 19th century bow, another JTL bow, got a quarter size Hungarian cello, anonymous 3/4 cello there. Let's have a look at this, a cello bearing a Guarnerius label, 19th century. Okay, 3 to 3,500, that's quite good. A modern cello of Asian manufacture, 7/8, 600 to 800 euros the estimate. Cello with a Gustave Viome label there, 4 to 5,000 euros there, the estimate. Cello case there, we've got a mid 20th century double bass of German manufacture. Got an old double bass mechanisms there, a couple of accordions, or a few accordions there. This looks quite interesting. Got a Sullen organ with rollers and flutes, a crank model with 42 flutes, 600 to 800 euros, with 3 cylinders allowing to play 30 pieces, circa 1840. That's kind of cool, quite like that. It's a Casio round keyboard, Pleyel upright piano, Bechstein piano there. Some Fiji Islands puzzle in dense wood. Interesting. Baecque Auctions, Central African Republic. A large harp, that's pretty cool, 2 to 300 euros. Very interesting. Ivory Coast dance bells there, Central African large cool trumpet. Mangbetu from the DR Congo, a slit drum, that's quite interesting. And going towards here, oh, this is very interesting actually. Ethiopian Coptic Sistrum Sanacel, Orthodox Christians in Ethiopia. That's quite interesting there. These things are really, really cool. So that's a good lot. Zande, Central African Republic, elegant zoomorphic slit drum there. Luba DR Congo, Sanza, another Sanza there, and a Kuba DR Congo YOLO drum. That's quite cool. And Baul Gur, Northeastern Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, imposing rare cylindrical pico drum. Yeah, it is actually pretty large, to be fair. 4 to 800 euros there. Ivory Coast Lawle gong hammer, that's pretty epic as well. Another Baul Ivory Coast Awako scraper, that's interesting. Luba DR Congo wooden bell with an internal clapper. DR Congo Debu bell. Got some DR Congo Sanzas there. Southwest province of DR Congo Mukoko slit drum. Cool trumpets here. Some rattle here. West Africa, a lot of 4 dance bracelets with bells. Senofo, Korogo region, Cote d'Ivoire, large transverse trumpet. And Zaramo from Tanzania, zither, monoxal zither, that's quite interesting. And here's a Congo lute on the Chokwe ethnic group, that's really cool. Great figurines at the top there. And a Kolkapi lute from Sumatra. Reklang Kling Tibetan trumpet in Buddhist rituals. Tibetan early 20th century old Damara wood animal skin. Interesting. I've got a Thailand ritual bell there, ritual trumpet from China, a Baecque from Sumatra, Indonesia. It's like a lute. An Indian sitar, 1970s, 1980s. India, early 20th century. Kartal, castanets. Rajasthan, Nagara tumbler. Okay. Sarangi there. The tribes of North India. Indian beggar bell. A Russian balalaika. Small Breton bagpipes. Interesting. Maitzel metronome. And an A. Gief switch metronome, and I think that is it. So yeah, there we go. This has been the Baecque and Associates auction. Some interesting wind instruments, pluck stringed, bowed strings, also some African instruments and a few other things here and there. So actually quite a diverse and interesting auction, so definitely worth checking out. So link is in the description as always, so have a look at it when you get a chance, and thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.